What's Morales from Black Women TV? Obviously, your names are easy enough to Google, unlike other shows and so forth. So what goes into saying, yes, I want to be a part of this. I'm going to put my stuff out there. Starting off with you, Nivea.
You said what made me want to?
Well, yeah, what goes into saying yes and putting yourself out here for this project?
Well, for me, it was personal for the universe, honey. I wanted the world to react to me basically inside and outside of myself saying, I want love. I want a real connection. I'm looking for my life partner. So that's what's the ultimate deciding factor for me doing the show.
That was good for
Tamar?
you. You wanted to let the universe know. You wanted to be loud about it. I didn't think about that perspective. Okay, so back to your question, my love. Well, for me, I wanted to meet Marcus Graham. And I figured, I did. I wanted to meet my Marcus Graham. And I figured with the Will Packer production, they're going to, get the best of the best. And, I'm going to really figure out, where's my mate? Where's my one? Where's my person? I've been looking since 15. Where is he?
And then Evelyn?
For me, this wasn't the first dating show that came to me, but then I kind of turned down a few of the other ones. But then when I heard Will Packer's name, I was like, okay, this could be good. I also trusted Will with my story, my personal life. As we all know, I struggled in my personal relationships. So I'm like, okay, I trust this. I trust that this is going to be a good opportunity. And you never know. I wanted to go into the, show with an open heart and an open mind. And my life has been crazy. And I said to myself, something like this would work. You just never know. So I gave it a chance.
And how much fun was it? Obviously, it's one thing when you're dating one guy, you want to see how it plays out. But when you have options, and here you have a lot of options.
21 of
them. 21 of them. Did you have a say, like, how is this going to work out? When people already know what each of you have gone through.
Yeah, I think we didn't know anything walking in. We didn't know. I don't know about you guys, but I was trying to kind of find out who the guys were.
Yeah.
We
was definitely finding out.
No information. We did know that they went through a background check, which we were happy about.
And a health check, amen.
Yeah, and a health check. And but it was crazy. It's so many different personalities and guys from everywhere, and you have to have energy for all of them. It was fun and crazy at the same time.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Right.
Is it an interesting feeling knowing you have to make a decision as far as which guy gets to go home? There's a time frame because this is a show as opposed to real life.
Well,
Tamar?
thank God it was a show because we would have sent most of them home after the first date. Only because, we're grown-ups, you know what I mean? Like, we're at a real big age. And instantly, if somebody's going to work out for the future that you want, you know what I mean? So, that was very easy for all of us, I think, to see who was actually going to fit with whom and who should actually stay and who really needs to get to step in.
Yeah.
And maybe I'll ask you first, obviously when you saw who these guys were, obviously looks is important. Did you have someone in mind and then waited to see, okay, let's see how this plays out?
Well, honey child, if you ever was to check my track list of men, they look like the rainbow. I do like, whatever I'm attracted to physically, but there's not a standard. There's not a set type. Yeah. I'm more attracted to an inner type. So I like the way all of them look, to be honest. So it was really about me getting to see that inner persona, to see what I was actually.
Yeah, and to touch on that, I think Evelyn and I was surprised.
Right. It didn't match.
What Nivea was attracted to was astonishing at some points.
Yeah.
You just couldn't believe it. It was very interesting.
At some point, we would be like,
really?
Nivea would come to the room and we would be all hanging out. She would be like, I don't know, but I think I like him. And me and Tamar would be like, really? What do you see that we're not seeing? She's a free bird, though. Right. Like, she's just really, really open. I think that was maybe for us kind of like a little bit of a learning curve to kind of maybe look outside the box.
Take
a
a note from,
bit.
and the same
No,
vice versa.
no, what
Vice
Nivea-
versa, they were like, girl, she
no,
was
what
like,
Nivea
she can't like
possesses-
everybody.
She possesses a gift to truly look at the spirit of
Yeah.
Right.
people.
I
We're
do.
not
I
there
really
yet.
do.
You do.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you do.
I do. I really do.
Yeah.
So, but
You know,
child, that would hinder the process, but we got through it.
But these guys were vetted. You
By
know?
whom? I'd like to meet that person. I'm still waiting on that email. I want to meet her. We need to talk.
Obviously, what you got of talking with Holly and Rodney, considering, you know, they've had this long-lasting marriage,
Yeah.
and they know what it takes to make it work.
For sure.
That helps you, hopefully, in the decisions you're making on this show.
Well, the truth is, they were a great addition to the show. I mean, a lot of times we didn't know how we would get past certain points without the two of them and their wonderful, amazing advice. Because they've been married for so long, they have been through every single thing. And it was really helpful to us, and they were really helpful to the guys as well to explain, you know, who they were actually dating and how we are different than the average, you know, woman that they would meet normally.
Right.
Yeah. And, you
Now,
know, I'll
honestly,
also...
again,
Yeah, sorry. I'll also say this, thinking about Holly and... What is her name?
Rodney.
Oh, my bad. Holly and Rodney. Sometimes they would give us advice and tell us things that maybe we weren't thinking about. So we'll be like, no, we're done. I don't know. This is what I don't like. But then they'll say, you know, Holly would be like, well, how about this? And then, you know, it was nice having that perspective. Like she said, especially from a couple that's been married for a long time. And we're like, okay, maybe you have a point.
It was like therapy.
Yeah, well, it was a
They were
therapy
like therapists
all
a
the
little
time.
now, we already know when you have to understand the power of no, and here you have to say the power of no numerous times. Did you talk amongst yourself in making that decision, or did you already know right away?
Oh, I definitely got talks from these two. They had to like I really learned a lot from them, and what I call standoffish at first. Like, they not giving nobody a chance. But what it was is, like Tamar said, this is serious. Like, we wouldn't do this for fun. Like, we're like putting ourselves out there, being very vulnerable and open to this process. But at the same time, you got to earn that.
Hello?
And they were teaching me that. Like, girl, you like everybody. Like, what are you here for? You want a bunch of dang on friends?
Right.
And I really, towards the middle of that process, took that, and I appreciate seeing them that way. It really checked me and helped me like focus.
And surprisingly, it started becoming difficult as we filmed to eliminate the guys. Like, we would be at elimination and she would be like, no, I think this person should go. And it was an ongoing conversation between us, which is, we didn't know. We're thinking, okay, we'll have elimination. We'll eliminate whoever and keep it moving. But it did become difficult and hard to tell these men in their face, why are they going home? So that was also just very nerve-wracking for some of us.
At the end of the day, there's a lot of shows on TV, streaming, cable, network, and whatever's on theaters. You know, so we have options of what to see. What's going to get people to watch this particular show? We already know your backgrounds, you know. So, if for those who don't know any of your backgrounds and stay off of social media and stuff like that, what's going to get people to watch this show?
I think us being so vulnerable and so open with an area that we've struggled in. I think people will look at her and be like, she's a great mom. She has her shit together. Same for her. But, we struggle in that department. And I think to be so open, honest, authentic, and kind of put your guard down is different. We haven't really got to do that in that, in the relationship field.
And also, there's never been a show like this.
Right.
We are 3 women of color, and the truth is we are just like every other woman that watches a dating show and really bump that, who really want love and want to find their person and really is tired of struggling in that area. Yeah. And we're so open and so real and so relatable because we talk about what every girlfriend talk about behind the scenes, when you're dating, what we're looking for, who we really truly are. And this is just a show of reflection, a show of fun, and a show that everybody needs to see, because not only for the women, I think for the men as well, we'll see some things that they should change about themselves.
Absolutely.
When they're putting themselves out there. Because we do point them out.
I would say congratulations on this show. Let's see where it plays out, and best of luck with everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wilson Morales, Black Women TV. Hello, folks. How's it going?
Going good. Hey, Wilson.
Hey, Wilson.
So what led you to host this series?
We
Pure and
were.
simple.
Yeah, no, I mean, we really like the concept and we like the idea of hosting and being able to share our experience, our journey. You know, a lot of people may think, oh, you're the perfect couple and you've never had any issue, but we've gone through some things and we've been together almost 30 years. And you know, it's kind of nice to have a big brother and big sister that have been through some stuff to ask advice of. And so I feel like it's a perfect matchup. I'm very glad that we chose it. We were very invested in these queens finding love from the jump. We were extremely all in. So there was no inauthenticity about us hosting this. It just was perfect fit.
What about you, Rodney? Obviously, you know, we know you. We don't see you that often on the screen, you know, talking in this sort of format. So was it a little bit of arm twisting to say yes? So granted, the easy part is done. We've been married 20 plus years. We're the perfect example, yada, yada, yada. But now co-hosting.
Well, no, it wasn't any arm twisting at all. I got a chance to work with Holly, so that was good. That was the best part. But along the way, we've been an open book. You know, we don't go and hide and not talk about our relationship or our family or anything. We wanted to share things that happen in our life for the benefit of others. So this was a perfect platform for us to talk to the three queens, both from a female and a male point of view of maybe what to look for, maybe things that can help them going forward. And then for me with the guys, kind of being that mentor for them of a guy that is in a relationship, been in a relationship for 30 years and has had the ups and downs, the good times, the bad times, and made it work. Because that's what we're dealing with. All of these three queens and these 21 guys have been in relationships, and for whatever reason, it hasn't worked. So not saying we have all the answers, but we can only draw some.
We got some.
Yes. We can draw from our own experiences to make it work for them.
Listen, the way I see it is you guys are old school enough that, you know, back in the day, no one's going to put out their business in public. You know, I think, hey, nobody's marriage is perfect, but you make it work. And when you're, like you said, you guys have put your stuff, because you're celebrities, you know, from what you've done, you know, on different platforms, people know your work. They've seen you, they've read the stories, and you are the prime example. Like, if anybody's going to host it, it's going to be somebody that's lasted long enough. And maybe they can show me the ropes as far as what to look for and how to hold on to it. How was dealing with the ladies, because they all come from different backgrounds, you know, and wanting them and navigating them through this process of, you know, choosing these guys.
Well, we were, as I said, so invested. I was the big sister and Rodney was the big cousin, brother, uncle, and we were just excited to help them on this journey. I knew two of them before this process, and all three of them have lived their lives, as you said, as we spoke of earlier, very publicly. They've shared a lot of their trials and tribulations, and they were genuinely, authentically in it for love. And that was our first big question.
Right.
Like, are y'all really doing this for the right reasons? And
yeah.
And every one of them, all three of them really were. And we could sense that. You know, you could smell whether someone's just going through the motions. That said, though, they were looking for a lot of red flags, and we wanted them to look for the white flags. We wanted them to look for the good stuff, right? So we were there just to sort of keep giving them advice on how to find love and how to be a little bit less judgmental about these gentlemen.
A little more patient, a little more, give a brother a chance from time to time, you know?
So how are you? Okay, so, you know, we're looking at this from the woman perspective, but, you know, with the guys, you don't know, you know, per episode who's going to make it out alive and so forth. So for you, Rodney, what were you doing with the guys in terms of like what's going to work, what's not going to work? You know, like I want you to stay on to make it episode 3.
Well, I think the thing that made us so relatable is all three women have their own careers. They have established themselves in their own right individually. And so for me with the guys, it was mostly about ego first. Is checking that ego, because a lot of guys get intimidated by strong, powerful, independent women.
Public women.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you throw that on top of it, it's very difficult for guys to kind of chuck their ego aside and allow the woman to stand out and be in the forefront. So that was the first thing I had to really, get across to them, is that don't get intimidated, and really don't let your feelings get hurt if she is the dominant one in a particular situation. It's okay.
And that takes a specific type of person,
Yes.
a man, to really be okay with that. But I love that Rodney could relate to them in that way. And that was the best part about being part of this. We didn't just come on as husband and wife standing there and giving the instructions and then leaving. We were allowed to stay, mingle, get to know, talk to the queens, talk to the potential kings. Like, we were allowed to get in their business, and so that when they came back to us and said, oh, this guy has, 3 baby mamas, and I don't know, but we found something redeeming in him, we would say, yeah, but what about this? And he's really this, or he's that. So we tried to bounce off of each other, and we think it works.
Did they come up to you and say, obviously knowing, you have the stability, and goes, what do you say? Like, were you hesitant to give certain opinions, knowing that whatever you may say may weigh heavily on their decision?
I think they were really open to our advice, and we didn't walk in all like bossy, like we knew I had all the answers. We walked in and we're like, listen, we're in this for you guys. So we had our own favorites too, right? I started like falling in love with some of these guys, not literally, but you know what I'm saying. Like some of them were, really like Wayne. I mean, but listen, I'm old. I'm an old lady, so then some of these young folks. But I'm just saying, going to work with 21 of these young brothers. And the thing is, for me, it's like we enjoyed the process. We enjoyed getting to know everybody. Casting for this show I've been doing this a long time, was so good.
Yeah.
The guys were amazing. The women are awesome. For guys that are not celebrities, they're so good on camera, and they were just really easy. And you really got to know these real guys. So I was impressed with all of that, and quite intrigued just to get to know everybody.
Now, we have a lot of programs on TV right now, streaming, network, cable, whatever's in theaters. What's going to get an audience to watch this? Obviously, we've seen similar shows, but this one is a show where we know who you are. We know who the 3 women are, outside of that, what's going to be the sell in watching the show? Is it because we want to be more entertained by their lives and see who they're going to pick out, and to see if it's going to really last, or we're watching to see how the process is going?
Well, I think a lot of people are going to see themselves in this show, whether you're a guy or you're one of the queens. Looking at one of the queens, you're going to see a lot of your own personal life and your own journey revealed in this show, whether it's back on the dating scene, or trying to find a man and looking past, or trying to judge someone too quickly, which we saw a lot on this show. So I think when people watch this, they're going to go, you know what, I was just in that situation 2 months ago, and I let that guy go, or I judged him too quickly, or I should have got rid of him sooner. All those type of things come into play. It's so real. And I think for us, being able to share our real life experiences with people on the show is going to go a long way for, I think, drawing people in and allowing them to see and pull the curtain back and go, okay, this is real life, and this is what I'm going through.
And I think just because these women have shared so publicly their downfalls and things that have happened so awfully to them, and it gives you hope. If you've gone through some things, pick back up and try to get out there again, because they were very vulnerable. To put themselves out there in public like that, I thought was very courageous. And so you get invested, and whatever you think you may know about them, you learn more. And, but for me, to your question, for me, it's the humor. I love humor. And I think humor can just help you with, and when I tell you I'm laughing, we laugh so much. And you see that in the show. So we even though there are serious moments and there are moments that can be a little intense, there's also a lot of laughter and unscripted, off the cuff. All these women are so funny, and the guys are funny too. But humor can get you through a lot. For me, that's the crowning jewel of this show.
Well, congrats on this show. Let's hope, whoever these guys are, whoever gets chosen, let's hope it lasts, because otherwise we're going to have to find another chapter, as far as where he goes. And before I let you go, Rodney, did you watch the game? Who are you rooting for?
Yeah, we did watch the game. We actually at the game, and we were rooting for the Eagles. I played there for 4 years. I got a Philly girl right here, so we were rooting for the Eagles. We came up a little short, but it was a great Super Bowl.
It was a great Super Bowl, but you have
Yeah.
a program to promote. Hopefully, we get the ratings so we can see a season 2 of this. You know, you pick out the couples and see how it plays out.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Take care, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.